Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode 56 review, an episode that I feel like has been very, I don't want to say criticized, but I'm doing this review a day later, not because I wanted to see what, other people thought. I actually have tried to stay off Twitter. The reason I'm not doing a live reaction is because it was spoiled for me by myself. I went on Twitter really stupidly and mindlessly, and I saw who won this duel, so because I knew that Soulburner defeated Blue Girl, I didn't feel like a live reaction was really warranted, since that kind of ruined the entire episode and the entire duel in terms from a reaction point. Not saying it ruined the episode, generally speaking, even though it wasn't a, we'll get to that. It definitely wasn't one of my more favorite episodes, I guess is a good way to say. I've seen a few people say that they're gonna drop the show, that this was like the last straw, that this ruined the show, which I'm gonna address all that too later on, and this might be a bit of a long review, and this review might not even be based much about the episode, more so the characters and the writing recently, and what I think of Blue Girl and now Aoi Zaizen. Is her character ruined? Do I believe that whole quote that I've been seeing going around? I'm going to address all that. I feel like doing this review is kind of like walking on eggshells. But again, the reason that I am late on this review is because the episode was delayed on Crunchyroll. I know I go off on tangents, so let me just make that clear. Episode was delayed on Crunchyroll. That's why I'm late on the review. But I am doing it a day late. I've seen the episode now twice. What do I think of it? Generally speaking, I'm not too big of a fan. I'm not too big of a fan of the episode. Not the end of the world. Every Yu-Gi-Oh! Show is going to have, 130, 140 episodes, and there's always going to be stretches that I find are not that appealing. There's some arcs that I would give a 9.5 out of 10. There's other arcs and there's other seasons in Yu-Gi-Oh! That I would give genuinely like a 5 or a 6 out of 10, which is just average. I don't think I'd really give any arc under like a 5 out of 10, but a 5 out of 10 really isn't that great. So every Yu-Gi-Oh! Show to me has their peaks and their valleys. Is this a valley right now for Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains? To me, it kind of is. It kind of is because Soulburner, we got introduced to him, and he literally is just like Crow. He's literally just like Johannes. And they come on in the middle of the show, sometimes a little like, half middle, which is what Soulburner did. It's what Crow did. Crow lost once, and the only duel he lost, he threw to that clock guy. Johannes lost once. The only duel he lost was to Judai. The only difference between them and Soulburner, though, is Crow didn't make his debut and he defeated Aki. He defeated Jack, and maybe he pushed Aki to the side, when Team 5Ds was established, but he didn't gain relevance and wins by defeating the characters that we already knew and that were already developed. And with Blue Girl, the episode was even titled Blue Girl's First Duel. I don't understand the entire redesign and the entire build-up of her character, and then to have her lose, it just doesn't really make sense to me. It's the result that I think everyone expected to happen. That's another thing. These duels have not really had any unpredictability factor at all recently. And I think it was funny at the end when Soulburner was like, you need an Ignis. That's the reason I won. I have an Ignis. And Aoi's like, the bond between human and AI is that strong. And then she passes out and gets forcibly logged out. Maybe that's a little hint that she is in fact going to get that blue Ignis. I don't know. Maybe that was a little bit of foreshadowing there, but I've seen people tweet like, give Aoi an Ignis so she has a fighting chance, which it's true. You almost need an Ignis to defeat someone who has an Ignis, and Soulburner defeated Go, defeated Blue Girl, and what's next? He's going to defeat Revolver, he's going to defeat Spectre. So the way that Soulburner is getting these wins, and I like Soulburner a lot. I like him a lot as a character. I think his voice actor is awesome. I think his voice is great. I think his deck is pretty cool, although in this episode his deck was a little on the ridiculous side. The fusion summons, by the way, in this episode were awesome. Did not expect at all Blue Girl and Soulburner to both use fusions. I thought that was awesome. So I'm kind of focusing on Soulburner's character, then I'll get to Blue Girl's character, then I'll get to VRains overall. But yeah, episode overall I thought was okay. I think if you take the episode out of context, it's not a bad duel. It was a little rushed. It almost, Blood Shepherd got 2 episodes, Go got 2 episodes, Blue Girl gets 1. And you kind of felt the rushness of this duel. Now, yes, her deck is a very quick burn, trying to, defeat the opponent as fast as possible kind of deck. And they even kind of say it in this episode where, oh yeah, she was unable to defeat you on her second turn. Now's your chance to win, and Soulburner does win. But his deck, even though I like it, the 2 cards that were absolutely stupidly convenient was the super fusion card that he used, which let him fuse his Salamangreat Heatleo with one of Blue Angel's monsters, or Blue Girl's monsters. That was ridiculously convenient. I don't think Soulburner should be wielding a card as strong as Super Polymerization. I mean, come on. And Blue Girl, the one thing I loved about her in this episode, you really do see the development that she had. And wins and losses isn't everything. It's important in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, but it's not everything, and I felt like she did improve as a character in this episode because you hear her inner monologues, you see how much she's strategizing, how much she's counting for everything to happen. Of course, at the end of the day, the writers, for whatever reason, just couldn't give her a win because she was versing Soulburner. And I know you can say, well, Dylan, what, you wanted her to defeat Soulburner and win the Ignis? Honestly, I didn't want this duel to happen. I feel like Soulburner could have dueled someone else and had this still great this duel didn't really provide any development for Soulburner whatsoever. It was just we didn't get any new backstory. We didn't get any new, really, relationship dynamic between him and Blue Girl. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it was anything more than if he was watching her duel. You know who would have been a perfect opponent for her to duel, and I think still is a perfect opponent for her to duel, where she can get a big, redeemable win, is Spectre. And I thought that rematch would have been perfect here. Soulburner could have dueled Bowman, he could have dueled Haru, he could have dueled really any of those guys, or even Blood Shepherd instead of Playmaker dueling Blood Shepherd. I just felt like the matchups in the last 4 or 5 episodes have not really been very well decided matchups, because it puts the writers in a very tough decision. And what happens here? Blue Girl loses to Soulburner, even though she dueled her ass off. She dueled amazingly. I don't think her character, by the way, is ruined. I know a lot of people have said that her character is ruined, but she still, through 5 duels, is 2 wins, 3 losses, and the 3 losses are all to Ignis holders. Even though Spectre didn't have the Ignis, she lost to Spectre, lost to Playmaker, lost to Soulburner. She got a big win against Vyra and then beat dueling Prototype B, which she did save Playmaker in that duel, but still. Besides the one against Vyra, she definitely hasn't really beaten any very notable characters, and as of now, Vyra might end up being a one-off character. You never know. Hopefully not. She's in the second opening, so hopefully we will see her soon. But, you know, it's funny with Blue Girl, because I still feel like, it's weird, but I feel like she's still got more development in this episode than Soulburner did. I still feel like her character has developed more than a lot of the girls have in Yu-Gi-Oh! And now, yes, she didn't get the win, and again, I'll say it, wins are important. They're not everything, but they are important in Yu-Gi-Oh! But if I still had to make like a top 5, top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Girls list, her and Emma, for that matter, probably both of them are in the top 5, because who else do you put there? Okay, maybe you can put Aki. I'd put Aki there. To me, she's still number 1. You could probably put Asuka from GX. But who else do you put? My Valentine, she didn't win anything. She never won a duel until Season 4 against a notable opponent. Every time she dueled in an important duel, she lost. So again, if we're going by wins and losses or everything, you cannot put My Valentine anywhere near the top 5 list. Kotadi and Zexal dueled 4 times, all in one episode, lost every duel. Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Yuzu was good. Yuzu, besides the fact that she didn't duel at all in the last 65 episodes, which to me is still ridiculous, one of the, I thought, most humiliating girl moments, and I don't think this moment gets talked about enough with Yuzu in Arc 5, is when she's dueling Yuri, and they don't even show the duel. The only part of the duel they show is her running away from Yuri. How often do you see that when a duelist is running away from another duelist in the middle of a duel with tears running down her face because she's so terrified and she's getting beaten that badly, and then Yugioh comes and saves her. Now, yeah, that was an awesome moment for Yuri. It shows how terrifying Yuri is, but at what expense? You just made Yuzu, and then I think her next duel is against Sergei when she gets destroyed and she gets flung through a building. So this is normal. It's unfortunately normal for Yu-Gi-Oh! Girls. Is it right? I don't think it's right at all. And in this case, girl or guy, whether Aoi is a girl or a guy, it's still not incredible writing, because just like Go, you built up this character change, you built up this whole new persona, this whole new attitude. Even Emma in the beginning of this episode is talking about how, oh man, I'm gonna see, show me what you've changed, show me how you've improved. And then at the end of the day, she still gets flung into a cliff and goes unconscious and loses the duel in one swift blow. So Blue Girl, I don't think her character is ruined, and I still think she's probably a top 5 character in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh! Girls and all of the Yu-Gi-Ohs, even if you want to base it off wins and losses, because I don't know who else you could really put up there. Serena from Arc 5, she's a hidden gem. She's still one of my favorite girls in Yu-Gi-Oh! And she, I think, was like 5-0. I don't think she lost her, last few duels, and she didn't really duel down the stretch, but early on, Serena kicked ass. So you do have a few, competent Yu-Gi-Oh! Girls, but it's not often. So again, this kind of thing is nothing new for Yu-Gi-Oh! The episode ended kind of strangely, too, with Emma leaving. I like how Flame, that was kind of funny how Flame blushed and Emma left, but Emma wasn't even going to go with Blue Girl. She wasn't even going to go with Aoi. She wanted to go by herself, so it's weird. Maybe that's a little character development there where she cares enough about Aoi that she would feel Aoi's confidence would be shaken if she went on without her. So Emma wanted to go back and take care of her and regroup with the Zizens. Maybe that's a bit of character development there. I felt that was a little out of character for her, but maybe, again, it is showing a bit of a change of heart in Emma Besso. And the last point I want to get to, Blue Girl's Fusion Monster was great. There's not much. I'm not really going to talk much about the duel because, again, I thought it was a little, the 2 cards, the Super Fusion, and the one where you can't take damage under 300. I thought those 2 cards were so convenient to the point where it's obvious. Now, we're very used to getting very convenient dueling cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that sometimes we will probably see only once, which is that card where you can't take effect damage under 300 points. That's a card we will probably never see again. I'm sure we'll probably see the Fate of Fire or whatever that fusion card was called, which had a cool name, and the summoning was really awesome. By the way, that Violet Heat Leo looked sick. Both fusion monsters, and then I think it was Trickstar Sweet Guitar, they both looked sick. I loved both of the fusion monsters, and again, seeing 2 fusions was really, really awesome. So the other narrative I'm hearing from a lot of people, not a lot of people, but from a decent amount of people, is that VRains has had so much wasted potential and that they're dropping the show. And I'm not going to comment about dropping the show because I'm in no position to say whether you should keep watching a show. If you genuinely don't like a show, don't watch it. I've always been a believer of that. I even told people, during Arc 5, 115, 120, that if they weren't loving Arc 5, they should just drop it. But we're not even at the halfway point of VRains, so if you want to drop it now, I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. But the whole thought of how VRains has all this wasted potential and how people are already calling it, a bad show, that to me seems like a very big overreaction. Because we are not even halfway through the show. Now, if we were in episode 100 and Soul Burner was shown to us for the first time in episode 91, then I'd say, alright, yeah, maybe there is going to be, with only 40 episodes left, maybe there's going to be a little bit of wasted potential here. But with 70 to 80 episodes to go, I think saying that VRains has had a lot of wasted potential, I think that is a very, very big, overdramatic statement. Personally, at least. Now, keep in mind, I am someone who's always lived very optimistic, very hopeful, maybe sometimes too much, where I've even gotten burned in real life by trusting the wrong people in high school and being taken advantage of. And in hindsight, it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have, given one of my quote-unquote friends the benefit of the doubt and getting kind of screwed over. And there's a lot of stuff like that where my optimism and my faith in people have kind of let me down in the past. And in Arc 5, I received a lot of heat from a lot of people when, during the XZ's arc, during the beginning of the Fusion arc in episode 120, 130, I was still enjoying the show, and I still felt that they were going to pull out a really good ending and that the ending was going to be really strong. And I was defending Arc 5. And remember, in the Heartland arc, that's when it was coming under fire from a majority of people. Right now, I wouldn't say a majority of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains fans are starting to really dislike the show. I think there's been a little bit of, with the Soul Burner winning and the Playmaker winning and the predictability of the duels. But during the Arc 5 stage, when we got to the XZ's arc, people were not happy. I mean, there were a lot of people, and keep in mind, I'm someone who reads YouTube comments on this stuff, probably hundreds of YouTube comments every single day, so I feel like I have a very good grip of the anime community, and there were a majority of Arc 5 fans, a majority of people watching Arc 5 were not happy with how the plot was going, but I stayed very positive on every review. You can go back and watch those reviews. It wasn't until really after the Zark duel that I started getting a little negative, and that's when I realized that the show probably wasn't going to go the route, really any of the routes that I thought and that a lot of people thought they were going to go, and they went a route that I didn't really love and that a lot of people didn't really love. You know how the story goes. But that the difference there is there was only 20, 30 episodes left. VRains is not even at the halfway point. And there's a chance that in 10 episodes, guess what? Blue Girl might duel Spectre. And Spectre might be reunited with his Ignis. And Blue Girl might defeat Spectre in the rematch. And all of a sudden, Blue Girl gets a really good win. So her character to me is not dead at all. I think her character still has a lot to be desired there. And I'm very excited to see what happens in the future. The episode overall, again, I didn't love it because of the whole predictability. I just honestly felt like we didn't need this duel. I felt like the duel was not just like the Soulburner Go duel. I felt like it wasn't really necessary. I would have rather seen Soulburner Blood Shepherd. They could have talked about their same past. We didn't really learn anything new about Playmaker in that Blood Shepherd duel, so we didn't need to learn anything new about Soulburner. It just would have been a chance for Blood Shepherd to talk about how much he hates AI, which he could have done against Soulburner. Soulburner has an Ignis as well, and that way you spare Blue Girl and Go. How about you have Blue Girl and Go duel in the time that Soulburner duels both of them, and that way at least maybe one of them gets, quote-unquote buried, but one of them wins and has a big win, and Blue Girl maybe could knock the sense back into Go, which Soulburner seemingly failed to do. So I just think there were better ways for these last 5-6 episodes to play out. That said, I'm very excited for the Playmaker Bowman duel. I'm very excited to see what happens next, and I'm going to say it. I think Playmaker is going to lose this duel. That is the first time that I have ever said something like that in Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains, that Playmaker is going to lose. That is my bold prediction. Playmaker is going to lose this next duel against Bowman, or he's not going to win. I'm like 80% sure he's not going to win this duel. Don't know why. Just a weird feeling. I think Bowman is one of those lost incident kids. Based on the preview and seeing Playmaker's flashback, I just think Bowman's going to somehow pull off the shock win. But anyway, guys, I have talked for such a long time. I think this is probably the longest review I have done since episode 1, so I am going to stop myself right there. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons Alexa Baker, Christopher Johannes Bouska, Glen McGookin, Jorge Carrillo, D01, and James Rose, and to my Diamond tier patrons Soledsnak and bouldergeist. Cannot thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart for supporting me over on Patreon, and thank you all so much for watching at home as well. Thank you again for watching this very, very long video. Please leave. There's a lot to talk about, and hopefully it doesn't get too heated down below. Please leave all your thoughts on this episode and on anything regarding VRains in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the amazing support, and I hope you have an amazing day.